welcome to the post show, the first round of the Fiji Pro Top 5 on the Samsung Galaxy Women's Championship Tour is a wrap with some very interesting results. Ronnie Blakey joined by a couple of greats, former Championship Tour competitor Ross Williams and former world champ Martin Potter. Gentlemen, beautiful conditions to get things underway here on the first day of the event window.
We're just in an absolute vacuum bubble. There's not a breath of wind, but that swell is dwindling, so a good call from Jesse. You know, you want to see everyone have a fair chance at it, catch a lot of waves, Potts, but it is slowing down a bit. Absolutely. I mean, you know, you watched that last heat, they were struggling to get 2 good rides each, so, and you want to eliminate that luck factor. You know, you want, as you said, Ross, you want both girls, all 3 of them, to really get some good waves under their belt, and it just really slowed up with that tide. So the forecast is looking good, so there's no hurry.
Couple of very interesting results in the first round, but some predictable outcomes as well. And we're going to have a look at the top seeds who perform well. Sally Fitzgibbons, Courtney Conlogue, Carissa Moore and Stephanie Gilmore. But Sal, she continues to be the surfer to beat out here at Cloudbreak. Potts. Looks so comfortable at this location.
You know what, she waited about 15 minutes, Ronnie, before she got her first wave, and that was kind of little danger signs really, but you know, she came back strong. She just dug deep, and you know, her first wave she'd wiped out. She got a 1-point ride on it, so we were sort of thinking, oh, here we go. But then she just started to crank it up. We just saw that confidence level go up again as soon as she started making waves. She looked, you know, dominated that heat really.
And Ross, we've seen some of the other competitors get to that inside section and second guess attacking that last move, and Sal let go of some nice moves on the end section.
Not intimidated, right? Yeah, she loves it here. I think the main thing when everyone comes to Tabarua, it's the main thing you have to do to avoid is feeling timid. It's so easy to do with that shallow reef just staring at you as you're bottom turning. So whoever can look like they're just surfing, they're not worried about getting cut, you know, and getting scraped up in the reef, they look the strongest.
Potts, Courtney Conlogue, for me, she just seems to have more time on each of her rides than any other surfer. I know wave selection has something to do with that, but she never looks like she's rushing to get to her move. She just lets the wave dictate what she's going to do.
Well, look at the size of her board as well. She's riding definitely a step up, that's for sure. Likes a bit of a bigger board under her feet on her backhand because she's so strong. She looked dominant in that heat as well.
Such an interesting event for Carissa Moore because it has been a bit of a roadblock venue for her. It's one of just 2 events on the schedule that she hasn't taken out. So this is a tough one for her. I think the other one is over there in France, but she looked sharper, I think, in this first round heat than what she did on the backhand in Brazil. Well, you know, born and raised in, on the south shore of Oahu, she's used to waves that look just like this right here. It looks like Alamoana Bowls, Potts. It looks like Kewalo Basin. Yep. She's got CJ Hobgood here in her corner, so she's got that extra confidence. Someone like CJ is going to say, hey, just chill out, you know, settle down. Don't let the nerves get the best of you. By the way, CJ showed me a picture of her yesterday pulling into at least a 6-foot, maybe even a bigger wave out at Cloudbreak, packing a big old barrel. So look out for Carissa. You know, she's known to be a little bit more timid out here, but I think she's gotten over that.
Absolute cruise control in that last heat of hers. I mean, she looked sharp. She wasn't making any mistakes. And then she had CJ paddling her back out, just settle her down again and roll the dice again. So I think she's looking dangerous.
I think she really starts to excel when there's a bit of a more wall for her to work with too. In Brazil, her backhand, she kind of goes to put theirs. She kind of flicks her board up, but in that first round, she just looked like she had a bit of room to move. She let go of some big drawn-out turns.
We got to mic up CJ. Are you kidding me? Just settle down. You already got your 8. You're in the lead.
The other thing too, Ross, is like when the swell picks up, do you actually want the waves that CJ wants? You know, that's the other thing. I mean, he's going to be getting her to look at certain kind of wave, and the ones that he's going to be looking at are just those drain pipes.
Another top seed who prevailed in the first round was Stephanie Gilmore. She's had a tough run in those heats with 3 competitors in the lineup throughout the year, but started to get some victories up over there in Brazil.
Yep.
She just brings up to me the schedule. When I think of the schedule for Stephanie Gilmore, she's so strong because of all those right-hand points.
Yep.
You can just see her setting up her style and the way her surfing suits those right-handers. So this is a good test for her because obviously it has been kind of a full yield sign for her to get those big results here. So I think it's, you know, something she needs to get over if she wants to get back on that world title hunt.
Well, finals a couple of years ago against Sally and some pretty solid cloud breaks. So she's got that kind of game, and it's so refreshing to watch her backhand because we very rarely get to see it, especially in these kind of waves. I mean, there was a couple of little mistakes through the middle part of that last heat of hers, but I mean, she really was the best surfer out in the water.
Well, let's hear from the 6-time world champ right now, out in the lineup with Strider Wazalewski.
Thanks, Ronnie. Yeah, Stephanie, great heat making it through. You know, really dreamy conditions out there.
It's so beautiful. You know, it's hard to get there. guys.
Well, we lost the audio there, but Steph Gilmore really just loving the opportunity to get out in such a clean lineup. It's crystal clear, the water out there at the moment, and even though it looks so dreamy, there's consistency missing in the number of waves for each heat, and that means that there's limited opportunities for surfers to fight their way back into heats once someone has picked off a good wave. So it was an easy call for Jessie Miley.
Yeah, it was. You know, like you said, there's 3 surfers in the water. You want each of them to get equal opportunity. And then it comes down to that lucky draw. If, you know, you get the priority at the right time. Steph did that straight away. I mean, kicked off with a 7-point ride. Just dreamy conditions. And, you know, when Steph's firing, it's probably one of the best things to ever watch. And then when she's not firing, it's probably one of the most frustrating things to ever watch.
You know, for her, you know, I think her biggest strength is her flow and how she really reads the waves perfectly. She always pieces them together. But make no mistakes about it, Cloudbreak can be very challenging, especially on your backhand. It speeds up, it slows down. You don't have the advantage of being on your forehand where you can just stick your arm in a wall and slow down for a barrel, especially on a day like today where it's all about maneuvers. But I give a lot of credit to Steph. She looked like she was in sync.
I think too that was probably the most stacked heat. When you look at past performances here in Fiji, all 3 of those surfers haven't missed the final series of this contest in the last 2 years. So some real solid performers, some good scores laid down, but Steph patient in the end and found a good backup to go with her excellent score, moving on through to round 3. A great effort.
You know what I liked about Steph's performance in this heat? She was looking at different waves. She was looking at those real fast ones. You put an extra foot or 2 on that and she's in the barrel the whole way. So I like her thinking, just, you know, not just looking for one type of wave where she can unload her backhand, you know, just mixing it up, looking for those real fast ones that are actually, when the swell does pick up, those are the ones you're going to want.
Let's now have a look at the upset victories in the first round. And Malia Manuel in the first heat of round 1, you wouldn't really call that an upset, but all the hype is definitely on Tatiana coming into this event because we know that she's one of the best, especially out there at Cloudbreak.
Yeah, Malia, I think, is one of the more underrated surfers on tour. To be honest, she opened up a kick butt in this heat. She surfs so well. I love her technique out here. She has that beautiful sharp angle where she gets right to the top, very vertical. All the backhanders, obviously, Potts have that advantage, but she really has that beautiful fluidity out of those snaps. So she combos those kind of steep angles with nice carves.
You know what? She made no mistakes in this heat, Ross. You know, and you're absolutely right. She had that point of difference too, knowing she had Alessa and Tatiana more so horizontal surfing as opposed to her backhand snaps. It was really quite clear from the get-go on who was going to win that heat.
I think too, Malia has in the back of her mind that if she leaves it right up to the judges in those really close heats, sometimes she's going to leave the water disappointed.
Yep.
Don't just win the heat, dominate and leave no question about it. And she did that in the battle in the first round.
Kudos to Alessa. She actually crushed that last wave on video right there. So she was right in the mix, but Malia just a little too strong. Potts with 2 very strong scores.
You know, that was a comeback wave for Alessa. She closed the gap right down, but then Malia got this one right behind and just literally, you know, opened that gap again. But you know, the boards are looking good. She's looking fired up if she can just keep that form. But as you said, Ronnie, she needs to, those close heats, she needs to stop eliminating those close heats and make it black and white.
Definitely. And Tatiana, she'll have to regroup because she had a pretty sad heat score total in her clash. Now, the other big upset victory came in Heat 3. Tyler Wright, she's been almost unbeatable throughout the season, but she had a tough draw. Bethany Hamilton, obviously, has some experience in these reef break kind of conditions. She looked pretty sharp early on, but Nikki Van Dyke stole the show.
This was the grittiest heat out of the entire round 1. Pretty slow, but you know, Nikki, she had that absolute bomb of a wave. We talked about it a little bit during that heat. She was slightly on the timid side, but she finished the wave off to her credit, and she hit the lip a couple times and managed to pull that one off. But you could tell Tyler is, she didn't seem too phased, Potts. We even heard her say, you know what, bring on round 2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it all came down to the wave selection. You know, Nikki just was on the better waves. And you know, out here you've got to be on the good ones. If you're not, you know, it doesn't matter how good you surf or how you try and fake it, you're not going to win. You've got to be on the bombs. Nikki Van Dyke got the better waves. She rode them and took down a #1 surfer at the moment.
So progressing straight through to the 3rd round, Nikki will have the opportunity to just readjust her lines out there and draw out her manoeuvres a little bit more to fetch some bigger numbers moving through. But she did progress through with the lowest heat score total of all the round 1 winners, 10.83. but she won't be too concerned about that at this stage. She'll skip that dreaded second round. A good effort from her. Now, one of the big stories coming into this contest came from the free surfing effort. Tyler Wright, we're going to see her barrel in a moment, but she is now set up for a huge clash in the second round. It's going to go down in heat 3. She's going to be up against Bethany Hamilton.
This is going to be huge, and that clip you're talking about, amazing display of tube riding. So hopefully, you know, the waves are, looking at the forecast, is meant to pick up just a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot, does it, Potts, for it to turn into a full-blown tube riding contest? So hopefully it is, because look at that matchup.
You know, Bethany's no slouch in the barrel either, by the way. I mean, she's going to, you know, you could tell in that round 1 heat she was looking for the barrel. A couple more foot on that, and she's going to be in there all day long.
We were calling that heat, Potts, and talking a little bit about just how much of a physical marvel Bethany is. The fact that she paddles into waves and duck dives with one arm. Have you ever tried to do that yourself?
I have, and I got smashed in the face by my board. It's like, you know, even when you push under and one of your hands gets ripped off the board, you know, it's how do you hold on to that thing? And Bethany Hamilton is just absolutely amazing, really. What an inspiration she is, too.
Definitely, and talk about amazing. How's this barrel from before the event from Tyler Wright? She might not have got the round 1 win, but I think she's had the best tube from a female, maybe in the last 5 years. I can't even remember a tube as big.
That's what I was telling you during our break running. I'm like, is it too crazy to say that's maybe one of the best waves ever ridden by a female right there? There was nothing she could have done better to improve that wave. No hands, very deep. She was up on a foam ball.
Kelly Slater couldn't have done any better on that.
That was really aggressive. Like, we were talking, like, I would have grabbed rail just because it feels like more of a safety move, but she just handled her business.
No, she's definitely got the talent, you know, and I tell you what, this year, 3 wins out of 4 events. She's thrown away a 5th at the moment. So obviously round 2, it's one of those sketchy rounds. I don't see her having too much trouble though.
I don't know about you, Potts, but I'm also of the opinion that Tyler, she can take her performance to another level again. I think she's just competing a lot smarter than she has in the past, not necessarily surfing better than she has in recent years.
You know, Brazil was a perfect example of that. I mean, she was doing just enough in the early rounds to win her heats, but then when she needed to, she cranked it up to that next level, and there's only a couple of servers on tour that can do that. She's one of them.
Now she's got to overcome Bethany in the second round to keep that dream run alive and have a crack at a 4th event win from 5 contests. It's going to be amazing to see. But let's check out the Surfline forecast and see what kind of conditions Bethany and Tyler could be facing when they meet up in round 2.
Well, it's not going to be a huge swell, but it's going to, like you said, Ross, it doesn't need to be big out there for directions right, which is going to be, you know, mid-size southwest swell, mid-size meaning in the 4 to 5 foot range. That's big enough for Cloudbreak to open right up, and we're going to see some crazy surfing. And with the southwest direction, Ronnie, you know, that's going to open up the inside section, or that shish kebab section. Yes, it is a little bit tricky. It's fast, it's sectiony, so that is a little bit of an advantage for goofy footers. But the cool thing is it kind of separates the peak into, or the wave at Cloudbreak into 2 sections. So you can be sneaky. You can grab those waves coming back out.
I think the goofy footers are just always looking at the schedule going, when are we going to get the advantage of being on our forehand? And that might be it, a little southwest swell running through the inside.
Well, you saw Medina win it a couple of years ago on that smaller size, and I think once it gets big and wide open, the natural footers have that ability to drag parts of their body and slow themselves down long enough to be in the barrel and make that point of difference. So I think the smaller, the more advantage the goofies will have.
Well, round 1 is a wrap here at the Fiji Pro. Some interesting results and some great round 2 heats set up. We'll be back here first thing tomorrow morning to kick off the morning show and see if we can get the second round underway. Until then, stay tuned to worldsurfleague.com. We'll see you soon.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League. Bula, and welcome to Dawn Patrol on the first day of the waiting period.
Boys, this is going to be a very interesting event. Tyler Wright, what an amazing run she's had. Can she be stopped?
Looks like we'll get our first wave of the morning. Guzan, powerful hook in the pocket. Manuel now feeling the heat. Solid backside snap.
It's going to be hard to unravel this backhand attack from Malia.
We've seen total domination by Sally Fitzgibbons in back-to-back wins. Now coming off the bottom, great vertical re-entry for Fitzgibbons.
We are loving the opportunity to have Bethany Hamilton in the draw as a wild card, once again competing at the Championship Tour level. As Tyler works one over on the inside. This is Courtney without priority at the moment. She just unleashes on that first section.
Carissa Moore leads this three-pack as a three-time world champion. Nice easy tempo, nice and vertical off the lip.